Shadows move in the wild places of our world, ancient forests, desolate swamps, and remote mountain passes. Sometimes what dwells in those shadows steps into the light, leaving behind more than just footprints. Tonight, on Scary Moo, we'll journey deep into the chilling heart of horror folklore, where the line between myth and reality is razor thin. These are the stories that haunt campfires, freeze the blood, and cause even the most skeptical to glance nervously over their shoulder. These are the true encounters, evidence caught on camera, where cryptids, those monsters of legend, may have finally revealed themselves. Stay with me, because what you hear in the next hour may forever alter your understanding of what lurks just out of sight. Imagine a mist-choked night in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. The air is thick, suffocating, and silent, save for the crunch of dead leaves under your boots. You pause, catching the glint of reflective eyes in the darkness. Is it a deer? Or something far older, something with wings and hooves and a scream that echoes through generations? The Jersey Devil, a creature whispered about for nearly 3 centuries, is said to haunt these woods. Its legend is sinister. Born from a cursed 13th child, it's been blamed for livestock mutilations, crop failures, and even missing persons. But in 2015, a local hunter, let's call him Mark, caught something on his cell phone that defied explanation. He'd been tracking deer, but what he filmed was no animal known to science. A hunched, emaciated figure with leathery wings, silhouetted against the moon, lurching through the trees before vanishing into the mist. The footage is grainy, the fear in Mark's voice raw as he mutters prayers under his breath. He never returned to those woods. What is it about these encounters that chills us to the bone? Is it the possibility that something monstrous shares our world, always just out of sight? Or is it the knowledge that, sometimes, the monsters are real, and they're watching us, waiting, hungry for the moment when legend becomes reality? Consider Point Pleasant, West Virginia, 1966. A group of grave diggers working late spot a figure perched atop a nearby tree. It's man-sized, but with wings stretching 12 feet across and glowing red eyes. The next night, 2 young couples driving through the area encounter the same thing. A towering, winged humanoid that chases their car at impossible speed, its eyes burning with unnatural light. They flee, terrified, hearts pounding, but the creature follows, keeping pace until they reach the safety of town. This was just the beginning. Over the next year, dozens more reported seeing what would become known as the Mothman, a harbinger of disaster, appearing shortly before the tragic collapse of the Silver Bridge. Some say the Mothman is a warning, a sign of impending doom. Others believe it is the cause. The original witnesses, now elderly, still recall the night in perfect detail. The overwhelming sense of dread, the feeling that their very souls were being watched by something that should not exist. But the horror doesn't end there. In 2019, a group of amateur ghost hunters ventured to Point Pleasant, armed with nothing but flashlights and a shaky handheld camera. Deep within the forest, a piercing screech shattered the silence, followed by a gust of wind so powerful it knocked one of them to the ground. The camera caught only a blur, 2 glowing orbs, impossibly high off the ground, vanishing into the trees. The group fled, never to return. The footage made its way online, fanning the flames of the legend. Was it just an owl, some skeptics asked? But owls don't chase cars, and they don't appear before disaster strikes. Not all cryptids are content to remain in the shadows. In the dense forests of the Pacific Northwest, a legend walks upright, towering, shaggy, and powerful. We're talking, of course, about Bigfoot. For decades, people have reported encounters with this elusive giant, strange shrieks in the night, enormous footprints, the stench of something unearthly. But in 2007, a pair of hikers captured something that still defies explanation. It was a foggy morning, and they were miles from civilization. The forest was silent, save for the occasional snap of a twig. Suddenly, a massive figure stepped onto the trail, a hulking creature covered in dark hair, walking on 2 legs. The hikers froze, their fear palpable as they whispered to each other, daring not to move. The creature turned its head, revealing a face both human and animal, intelligent yet alien. Within seconds, it melted back into the forest, leaving only a haunting sense of being watched. The footage, though blurry, shows a silhouette that's impossible to mistake for a bear or a human in a suit. The terror in the hikers' voices is genuine, their panic infectious. Skeptics claim it's a hoax, a man in a costume. But ask those who have seen Bigfoot, and they'll tell you. Nothing can prepare you for the cold, primal terror of meeting something that's not supposed to exist. Something that looks at you as if you're the prey. Sometimes, the horror is closer than we think. In the wetlands of Louisiana, an ancient evil is said to stalk the night, the rougarou. Part man, part wolf, it hungers for flesh, cursed to roam the swamps for eternity. In 2012, a local fisherman named Jacques set out before dawn, hoping for a good catch. What he found instead was a nightmare made flesh. He returned home, pale and trembling, clutching his phone with shaking hands. His video is short but haunting, reeds parting, the flash of yellow eyes, and a guttural snarl that echoes across the water. Jacques' voice is barely a whisper as he pleads for it to leave him be. Later, he would confess to friends that he felt an overwhelming urge to abandon his boat and throw himself into the water. That he was being called by something inhuman. For months afterward, Jacques suffered terrible dreams and refused to fish alone. Some say the rougarou marks those who see it, haunting their dreams, and cursing their luck. Whether it's real or not, Jacques was never the same. Cryptids are not confined to forests and swamps. Sometimes, they come from the depths. In Scotland, the legend of the Loch Ness Monster has persisted for centuries. But in 2017, a group of tourists on a boat tour captured something that sent shockwaves through the local community. The water was calm, almost mirror-like, when a massive shape broke the surface, black, serpentine, and impossibly long. The tourists screamed as the creature's head, something between a snake and a horse, rose from the loch before sliding silently beneath the waves. The footage is chilling, not just for what it shows, but for the screams and gasps that accompany it. The local guide, a hardened skeptic, refused to speak about it afterward, and the tourists left Scotland 2 days early, refusing to return to the water. Legend says Nessie is a survivor from another age, a creature that waits in the black depths, surfacing only to remind us that we are not alone. But perhaps the most disturbing cryptid encounters are those that leave more than just blurry footage or chilling stories. Sometimes, they leave behind bodies so mutilated, so inexplicable, that even hardened investigators are left shaken. Let's travel to the Appalachian Mountains, where in 1998, a group of campers vanished without a trace. Their campsite was found abandoned, tents shredded, blood staining the leaves. Nearby, a camera was discovered, its final recording capturing the terrified whispers of the campers as something large circled their camp. The growls are unlike any known animal, deep, guttural, almost human. Suddenly, there's a scream, the camera tumbles, and then, nothing. The search party found only fragments, shreds of clothing, broken bones, and strange, three-toed footprints in the mud. The official story blamed a bear attack, but local law enforcement never released the full details. Whispered rumors spoke of the Wampus cat, a six-legged monster, half-woman, half-beast, driven mad by ancient curses. Survivors, those rare few who escape, describe a creature that moves with inhuman speed, its eyes reflecting back the light of torches like cold fire. To this day, families in the region warn children not to wander after dark, lest the Wampus cat claim them too. In the icy wilds of Alaska, the kushtaka is said to lure travelers to their doom. Part otter, part man, it mimics the cries of loved ones, drawing the unwary onto thin ice or into freezing rivers. In 2014, a rescue team was called to search for missing hikers. They found only a single video, left behind on a frozen riverbank. The voices on the recording are frantic, pleading with what they think is their friend, until the voice changes, growing guttural, mocking, as something moves just out of sight. The team found no bodies, only claw marks scored deep into the ice. Locals refused to speak of the kushtaka, claiming that to name it is to invite disaster. Even the cities are not safe. In the sewers beneath London, tales persist of the black shuck, a monstrous, spectral hound with glowing red eyes. In 2018, a maintenance worker captured audio of something howling deep below the city streets. The sound was so loud, so unearthly, that it shattered his phone's microphone. The worker quit his job that night, swearing he'd seen a shadow with eyes like burning coals, stalking him through the tunnels. For months afterward, other workers reported strange sightings and the feeling of being watched. Some believe the black shuck is a demon, a harbinger of death. Others say it's something even worse, a hunger that cannot die, hiding in the darkness beneath our feet. But why do these stories persist? Why do people continue to risk ridicule and disbelief to share tales of monsters, of cryptids, of things that should not exist? Is it simple fear of the unknown, or is there something deeper, an ancient memory, a primal warning that some things are better left unexplored? Psychologists tell us that horror is a mirror, reflecting our deepest anxieties. The cryptid is the embodiment of the unknown, the shadow in the corner of the eye, the thing that moves just beyond the circle of firelight. But for those who have seen them, horror is no longer abstract. It is real, tangible, and life-altering. Take, for instance, the story of Hannah, a nurse in rural Vermont. In 2016, she was driving home late at night, the road winding through dense forest. Her headlights caught something crouched by the roadside, a creature both humanoid and insect, with elongated limbs and eyes that glowed like lanterns. It stood and stared at her, its joints bending in impossible ways. Hannah's car stalled, and for a moment, she was trapped, powerless, as the creature approached. At the last second, it turned and vanished into the woods. To this day, Hannah refuses to drive that road at night. She's never spoken publicly about what she saw, but her friends say she wakes screaming, haunted by nightmares of those glowing eyes. Or the tale of two brothers in the deserts of Arizona, who encountered the Mogollon monster, a towering, hair-covered humanoid with a face like an ape and a scream that rattles the teeth. Their footage is brief: a massive shape darting between cacti, the sound of heavy breathing, and the crack of branches as something enormous flees into the darkness. They returned home changed, obsessed with the encounter, convinced that the desert holds secrets too terrible to name. What makes these stories so horrifying is not just what is seen, but what is left unseen. The sense that something is always watching, waiting, just beyond the edge of light. The knowledge that, at any moment, a legend can become flesh, a nightmare can step out of the shadows. And sometimes, the horrors are closer to home than we realize. In 2020, a series of disappearances rocked a small town in Oregon. Hikers, hunters, and even pets vanished without a trace. The only evidence: strange claw marks on trees, and in one case, a blood-chilling video left on a dropped phone. The footage captures the victim's frantic flight through the forest, breath ragged, as something massive crashes through the undergrowth behind them. The final moments are a blur of motion, a guttural roar, and then silence. Search parties found no trace, save for a single strand of coarse, gray hair caught on a branch, unlike any animal known to inhabit the region. Samples sent to labs returned no matches. Local authorities quietly stopped searching, and the rumors began. The return of the Wendigo, a spirit of cannibal hunger, said to devour those lost in the woods. Elders warn that to speak its name is to invite it into your dreams, to feel its cold breath on your neck as you sleep. So, what do we make of these encounters? Are they the product of overactive imaginations, mass hysteria, or elaborate hoaxes? Or do they point to something darker, a hidden world, teeming with predators that have learned to hide from our eyes and our cameras? The truth is, the world is far older and stranger than we care to admit. For every cryptid sighting dismissed as fantasy, there are those who know, who have seen, who have heard, who have felt the icy grip of terror in the presence of something inhuman. They walk among us, their stories dismissed, their warnings unheeded. But every so often, the veil lifts, and something ancient steps forward, leaving behind a trail of fear and fascination. As you listen to these terrifying true encounters, ask yourself, are you sure you're alone? Are you certain that the next time you're in the woods, or by a lonely stretch of water, or walking home in the dark, that there's nothing watching you, nothing waiting for the chance to step from legend into reality? If you've encountered something you can't explain, if you've felt the weight of unseen eyes, or heard the unearthly scream of something not quite animal, leave your story in the comments below. We want to hear your nightmares, your brushes with the unknown. And if you dare, subscribe to Scary Moo for more journeys into the darkest corners of horror folklore. Because out there, in the places where the world grows thin, the legends are waiting, and they're hungry. Remember, it's not the monsters you can see that should terrify you. It's the ones that remain hidden, just outside the reach of the camera, always watching, always waiting. Sleep well, if you can.